There are many different types of noodle dishes in Asian culture, like noodle soups, stir-fried noodles, or dipping noodles. But there are also many different types of noodles themselves, like ramen noodles, soba, rice, glass, vermicelli. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about udon noodles. These dense Japanese wheat-based noodles have a delightfully chewy texture and subtle flavor. Many of you may recognize udon as a round, plump noodle, but did you know there are regions throughout the country that actually cut their udon into unique shapes? For instance, in Tochigi, there exists a New Year's dish called mimi udon, which has their udon cut into the shape of ears. Although it might not be quite as intriguing and fun as ear-shaped noodles, himokawa udon is a beautiful flat udon from Gunma prefecture. This wide paper-like udon has various origin stories, but nonetheless is arguably one of the most aesthetically pleasing udon variants out there. If you can't visit Gunma to try it, you're in luck, cause I've got a solution. Welcome to Bubby Eats Godaime Hanayama Udon. In 1898, Kinzaburo Hashida left his hometown in Gunma prefecture to work in Nihonbashi, Tokyo, and later decided to open an udon shop that featured the signature wide and flat udon noodles from his hometown. Many years later, Hanayama Udon is still highly rated in Tokyo as it is currently operated by the 5th generation, hence the name Godaime Hanayama Udon. When I first heard about this place on Tabelog, I admittedly was skeptical as a plethora of reviewers claimed it was not worth the excessive wait times. But after seeing the multitude of mouth-watering photos of their udon, I just knew that I had to give it a shot. I decided to visit the Ginza store, which is almost now considered the main branch that opened in 2016. Even though the original was opened in Nihonbashi. And much to my expectation, when I arrived there was already a massive queue formed, even in the early hours of the day. The menu here was actually quite simple. There were different set menus available that offered the most popular udon with accompanying items like rice, tempura, and side dishes. For my trip, I was able to try some kake udon, cold zaru udon, and kare udon. First, the kake udon. The kake udon was a typical soup udon with soy sauce base, with various veggie toppings and barley pork direct from Gunma prefecture. The pork was actually very tender and had a distinct barley flavor that paired wonderfully with the broth. The cuts were thin, almost like the thinly sliced beef you'd receive in a typical gyudon. The zaru udon was a cold dipping udon that offered 2 different accompanying flavors from a selection of 5 different offerings of soy sauce, sesame, black sesame, roasted sake, and an umami dashi. For our set, we decided to just go with the recommendation of soy sauce and sesame. Both were excellent, but to be honest, the eating experience just wasn't my thing. Sure, it was very picturesque, but as far as it goes for eating, I much prefer the kake udon. Something about having a warm bowl of soup to enjoy along with delicious slurpable noodles is just a lot more appealing for me. Lastly, the curry udon. I'm a big fan of curry udon or kare udon, as many of the longtime viewers of my channel know. Everything about the kare udon at Hanayama was excellent. The curry wasn't too thick nor too runny, and the udon perfectly captured the flavor and was evenly coated with their delicious curry. I may be biased in my love for curry, but this dish was certainly the number 1 pick for me. Interestingly, the curry's protein of choice was actually chicken that was also sourced from Gunma prefecture. The akagi chicken was ground and added such an incredible depth of flavor to the curry itself.
That's freaking good, bro.
I'm sure you're thinking that all of this is well and good, but what about the noodles? After eating here, I can confidently say that these noodles are clearly not just an aesthetic choice. The udon was incredibly soft, but still mysteriously chewy. They perfectly saturated themselves with the flavor of the broth, curry, and dipping sauces and were so satisfying to slurp. I would say that for the majority of people, they aren't too wide to be messy, but I have a pretty small mouth, so for me it led to my face being covered in various sauces while eating. I think people who come here will leave happy, but as you all know, I'm not most people, so it's time for the scores. For flavor, although the kare udon was excellent, I'm going to have to give it a B+ grade. The udon broth was honestly nothing special in my opinion. It was certainly excellent, but I've honestly had better. The tempura and accompanying dishes were excellent as well, but just failed to deliver a certain wow factor. For mouthfeel, Hanayama Udon certainly deserves an A. I was at first concerned about the slipperiness of the udon when I first started eating. I thought that it might signify that the mouthfeel experience would be a bit slimy, but I was very quickly proven wrong. The wide flat noodles were soft, as I said before, and unlike any noodle experience I've had in Japan. For value, it gets a little complicated. Many travelers to Japan probably don't have the luxury to waste 2+ hours waiting in line for one meal, which makes it difficult for me to give a high grade. But by visiting some of the other locations, I have heard that wait times are dramatically lower. As this is the case, I can confidently say that I can rate value an A. The price per set meal is surprisingly affordable at just under $15 on average and can definitely be quite filling, even for you hungry bears like me out there. Overall, we are averaging out to an A, which means I can rate Godaime Hanayama Udon certified Bubs. Before we end today's video, I just wanted to mention that my Meiji era merch drop has released on my website kumacorp.us. Represent the Kuma Corporation in style with the tapestry pump cover or the strength and modesty pump cover. If lifting isn't your thing, that's okay. We've got embroidered merch like this champion sweatshirt, perfect for the upcoming fall and winter season. Use code BubbyEats for 15% off your order. Shop today. Many thanks to those of you who have subscribed to the channel. We're still on our way to the 500 subscriber goal, so if you haven't already, get subscribed and click the bell icon so you can be notified for more videos I've got coming soon. If you've got a travel or food companion, don't forget to share the video with them to help me please the algorithm overlords. If you have any recommendations for me, please feel free to recommend some spots for my next trip. But for now, as always, stay hungry.